Sit closer to me for a few minutes. The crowd of your thoughts can wait at the edge of the room. They will still be there when you stand up, and most of them will look smaller by then. For now, I want you here, near, without an agenda, without the pressure of arriving at a conclusion before the conversation has even had a chance to begin. Let your weight settle, not just your body, the other weight. The mental ledger you have been carrying around, the one you keep updating in the back of your mind, the running tally of what is still unresolved, what is still uncertain, what is still waiting on a yes that has not yet come. Set the ledger down beside you. I will not lose your place in it. I have been reading it longer than you have been writing it. I want to tell you something you have been almost ready to hear for a while now, and the reason I am bringing it up at this exact angle, in this exact tone, is that some news cannot be shouted. It has to be whispered. It has to be set in your hands the way you would set a small, living thing in someone's palms, slowly, with care, with the silent message that what you are receiving is alive. So lean in just a little more. Here is what I have to say. The thing you have been begging me for in private, the thing you have stopped mentioning to other people because you got tired of explaining it, the thing you sometimes whisper before you fall asleep without even realizing your lips are moving, that thing is not arriving alone. It never was going to. You have been bracing yourself for one answer, and I have been preparing many. Put your hand on your chest right now. Just one hand. Flat against your heart, where the small drum keeps insisting on its rhythm whether you remember to thank it or not. Hold it there for a moment. Feel the steadiness underneath your palm. That steadiness is not a coincidence. It is a sample. A small free sample of how steadily I have been working in your life when you could not see the work. The world has trained you to think in singulars. One job, one opening, one healing, one door. As if I were a clerk at a counter handing out one item per customer and stamping your forehead and sending you back to the line. That is not how I move. That has never been how I move. The way I move is closer to weather than to vending. Weather does not arrive in a single drop. Weather arrives in a season, and the season I have been preparing around your life is not a single answer to a single prayer. It is a whole climate change in your favor. I know how that sounds to a heart that has been disappointed. The hardest place to receive good news is a chest that has been carrying old grief. I am not going to bulldoze past your caution. Caution earned its place. The disappointments you survived made it. I respect that part of you, but I also want to tell that part of you, gently, that the rules it learned from the past are not the rules of the room you are walking into now. Different rooms have different rules. The rooms of your past had rules that were written by what was scarce, what was slow, what was withheld. Those rules made sense in those rooms. The room you are walking into next has different walls, different lighting, different acoustics. Sound carries differently here. A whisper in this room arrives at the other end as a clear sentence. A small step in this room covers more ground than a long stride did in the old one. You do not have to relearn how to walk. You just have to let the new room teach you what it teaches. Some of you have been so used to closed skies that an open sky feels suspicious. You keep checking the corners for the catch. You keep waiting for the punishment that you assume must be hiding inside the goodness. I want to address that fear directly because it has been costing you the joy of what is already here. There is no catch. The goodness is not a setup. I am not the kind of parent who hands a child a gift in order to take something else away. I am the kind who gives because giving is closer to my nature than withholding ever was. Listen, what is moving toward you is not a single event. It is a sequence. The first thing you receive will not be the last thing you receive. Do not let the first one fool you. Do not let it fool you in either direction. Do not let it fool you into thinking the story is now complete. and do not let it fool you into thinking it is too small to matter. Each thing that arrives in this stretch of your life is a hinge. One opens the next, one sets up the next. One unlocks a door that you did not even know existed because the door was hidden behind another door that had not yet been unlocked. This is what people do not tell you about the way I work. I do not just answer, I orchestrate. There is a difference. An answer is an event. An orchestration is an architecture. You have been asking me for an event, and I have been quietly building you an architecture. Breathe with me. 3 slow breaths. In, out, in, out, in, out. Let your shoulders come down a ½ inch. They have been hovering up near your ears for so long that they have forgotten the lower position is even available. Let them remember. The air you just took in is the same air I breathed into the first human chest. It still works the way it worked then. Now hear this clearly, in the tone of someone who has been waiting a long time to say it. You are not at the end of a drought. You are at the beginning of a rain that has more than one cloud in it. I will say it again, in a different shape, because some truths need more than one shape to settle in. You are standing under skies that are about to release more than you knew how to ask for, in directions you have not been watching, through people you have not yet met, through changes that do not fit on the small list you wrote down. The list was not wrong. The list was just smaller than my generosity. Your prayers were not too big. They were too narrow. I am not annoyed by the narrowness. I understand it. The cup of your imagination was the only cup you had to hold the request in. I am simply telling you that what is coming will not fit in that cup, and you do not have to find a bigger cup before it begins to arrive. The overflow itself will teach you how to receive. Some of what is coming will look like the thing you asked for. Some of it will look nothing like the thing you asked for, and you will only realize months later that it was the better answer the whole time. Some of it will look like ordinary days that turn out to have been carrying extraordinary cargo. Do not despise small beginnings. Small beginnings are the door I prefer. You have been measuring the distance between where you are and where you want to be. I want to tell you that I have not been measuring that distance the same way. The map I am using does not have the same scale as the one in your head. What looks like a long road on your map is sometimes a short corridor on mine. What looks like a delay on your map is sometimes a turn on mine, and the turn is the reason the road eventually leads somewhere your old route would never have reached. I am not rushed, but you should not mistake my patience for slowness. I am not slow. I am thorough. There is a difference. Slowness postpones. Thoroughness prepares. While you have been waiting, I have been preparing. While you've been wondering whether anything was happening at all, I have been arranging the people, the timing, the rooms, the moods, the small chance encounters that will look like luck to anyone watching from the outside, but will look like signature to anyone who knows my handwriting. You know my handwriting. You have known it longer than you give yourself credit for. You have seen it in the moments that turned around just before you broke. You have seen it in the help that came from the unlikeliest place. You have seen it in the times you should have fallen apart and somehow did not. Those were not coincidences. Those were practice runs. I was practicing on you. I was teaching your spirit to recognize my style. And I was doing it because I knew that one day I would need you to recognize it on a bigger scale, and I did not want you to miss it when it came. It is coming. Let me tell you what the next stretch of weeks and quiet months might actually feel like, so that you do not miss it when it happens, because that is part of how miracles get missed. They arrive in clothes you did not expect. You are scanning the horizon for one shape, and they slip in through the side door wearing a different shape entirely. You might wake up one ordinary morning and notice before you have even gotten out of bed that a particular knot in your chest is not as tight as it was. You will not know exactly when it loosened. You will not be able to point to a moment, but it will have loosened, and you will feel a small surprise of breathing that comes without effort. That is one of the answers. Do not dismiss it because it did not announce itself. Healings rarely announce themselves. They prefer to do their work first and let you discover the result. You might be in the middle of an ordinary errand and run into a person you have not seen in years, and the conversation will be 5 minutes long, and inside that 5 minutes a sentence will be said, by them or by you, that turns out to matter. You will think about that sentence for a week. It will become the first stone of a new way of seeing something. That is one of the answers. The street corner was not random. The timing of when you walked past was not, I arrange these things. I have been arranging meetings since I arranged the first one. You might check your phone at a moment you would not normally have checked it, and a message will be waiting that you needed to hear at exactly that hour, not the hour before, not the hour after. The sender will not know they were timed. They will think they sent it on a whim. The whim was mine. I work through whims often, especially with kind-hearted people who have learned to let small impulses move them. You might find yourself sitting in your own kitchen, doing something as small as washing a dish, and a feeling of unexpected peace will come over you for no reason that the situation around you can explain. You will look around to see what changed. Nothing in the room will have changed. Something inside the room will have changed, but it will not be visible. That is one of the answers too. Some answers come as inner weather, not outer events. Receive them. They are not less real because they cannot be photographed. You might catch yourself, weeks from now, laughing at something you would not previously have found funny. The laughter will surprise you. You will think, I have not laughed like that in a long time. That laugh is data. The capacity to laugh has been being restored in you slowly, in quiet places. The laugh is the surface signal of a deep restoration that has been happening underneath your awareness. These are the textures of what I am bringing. Not all of it will look like fireworks. Most of it will look like a softening of what was hard, a clearing of what was clouded, an arrival of what was not arriving. The cumulative effect, looking back from a year or two ahead, will be unmistakable. From inside the days themselves, it will feel like life. That is on purpose. I do not want you to spend this season constantly turning around to check whether I am still working. I am still working. I am always still working. Trust the texture and walk forward. Say your own name out loud, just once. Not for me. I know your name. Say it for you. Say it the way someone who loves you would say it, with no impatience in the syllables. Hear how the air carries it. That sound is the address I am sending the next chapter to. I have not lost the address. The mail has not gone to the wrong house. Whatever you have feared about being forgotten is unfounded. I do not forget the names I have spoken over. Now let me tell you, more concretely, what I am bringing. There is more than one open door in what I am bringing you. Not one, more than one. Some of the doors are doors you have been pushing on for a long time, and you will finally feel them give way. Some of them are doors you did not even know were there, and you will turn a corner and stand in front of them as if you had always meant to. They will not all open on the same day. That would overwhelm you. They will open in a sequence I have arranged, so that each one prepares your hands for the next one. Healing comes the same way, more than one. The body is a country, and a country is healed in regions, not all at once. The first place I touch may not even be the place you have been most worried about. I often start at the edges, where the damage is older, where the patterns were laid down so long ago you have stopped noticing them. From the edges, I move inward, and by the time I reach the center is more receptive than it would have been if I had started there. I know what I'm doing. I have been doctoring souls and bodies for a very long time. Then there is the provision. You have been adding up your needs in one column and your resources in another, and the math has been disquieting you in the small hours. I am not impressed by your math. Not because the numbers are wrong. The numbers are correct as far as you can see them. But the page you are doing the math on is only one page of a longer book, and the next pages contain entries you have not been able to count yet. because they have not yet been written down where you can see them. They are written down where I can see them. That is enough for now. Friendship is part of the package too. More than one new face. Some of the lonelinesses you have been carrying are about to be answered, not by one person who fixes everything, because no one person was ever supposed to fix everything, but by a small constellation of people who together will make you feel less alone in a way you almost stopped believing was possible. They are already on their way. Some of them are people you have not yet met. Some of them are people you already know but have not yet recognized. I will help you recognize them. I am good at introductions. I have been introducing people who needed each other since before either of them knew they needed anyone. Clarity is coming in pieces. The fog you have been walking in is going to lift in patches, not all at once. You will see one thing clearly, then another, then another. Each clarity will give you the courage to take one step. The step will reveal the next clarity. Trust the patches. They are how I prefer to teach. A floodlight overwhelms the eyes. I work with lamps. And there will be more than one yes. You have been bracing for the no you fear the most. I am not going to pretend that every door opens. Some of the no's in your life are mine, and the reason for them will become legible to you later, sometimes much later. But I want you to hear that the yeses outnumber the no's in this season I am bringing you into. The mathematics of grace is not the mathematics of fairness. Grace tilts toward you. It always has. Stop here a second. Don't read the next sentence yet. Take that in. Grace tilts toward you, not away from you, toward. Now keep going. There is a particular kind of waiting that you have been doing, and I want to honor it before I say anything else about what comes next. You have been waiting in a way that the people around you have not always seen. You have been waiting through nights that did not end on schedule. You have been waiting through meals you ate alone and tried to make pleasant for yourself. You have been waiting through holidays that were supposed to feel a certain way and felt a different way instead. You have been waiting through anniversaries of losses you did not announce because you did not want anyone's pity, only their understanding, and understanding turned out to be rarer than pity. I noticed all of it. None of it went to waste. Waiting is not nothing. The world treats it like it is the absence of activity, but waiting is its own form of work. It is invisible work. It is the kind of work where the calluses form on the inside, on the soul, where no one can see them and no one will ever applaud them. You have been doing that work. Your soul is more calloused than your hands in the good sense, in the sense of having toughened in the places that need to hold weight. Because you have been faithful in the waiting, the season I am moving you into will not undo you. That is one of the reasons I waited. You may have thought I was withholding. I was actually preparing. I have seen what happens to people who receive a flood of good things before their soul has the muscle to host it. The flood drowns them. They cannot tell the difference between blessing and identity. They become what they have. And when what they have shifts even slightly, they collapse. I did not want that for you. I wanted you to be a person who could host a flood without becoming the flood, who could carry abundance without abandoning the version of yourself you spent so many quiet years becoming. You are now that person. You did not see yourself becoming her. You did not see yourself becoming him. You are too close to the becoming, but I saw it. I have been watching you turn into the kind of vessel that can hold what is coming. If these words are landing in you, leave a phrase in the comments. Not for me, for your own ears. Type more than 1, 2 words, so that the part of you that has been fearing scarcity hears your own voice naming the truth out loud, so that something in your mouth records what something in your spirit has just begun to believe. The smallest voiced agreement counts. A whispered, more than 1 still counts. You do not have to feel certain to say it. Some certainties only become real after you have said them. I want to talk to you now about how to walk through what is coming, because the coming is real, and the walking is the part you do. Do not grip the first miracle as if it were the last. That is the most common mistake of people who have waited a long time for an answer. When the first one arrives, they hold it so tightly that their hands are not free to receive the second one. Their fingers are still wrapped around the first thing when the second thing is already at the door, and they cannot answer the door because they are afraid to set down what they are holding. Set it down. The first miracle is steady. It is not running away. It does not require your grip to remain real. Free your hand so that you can receive the next one when it knocks. Do not narrate the first miracle into the only miracle. I have seen people receive a beautiful thing and then convince themselves that the beautiful thing must be the entire answer, because to imagine more would be greedy. There is nothing greedy about expecting me to keep working. I do not stop working. I am not on a schedule that requires me to stop after one good thing per person. The cap on my generosity is not in me. If there is a cap, it is in the size of the receiving. Do not be the one who caps me on accident. Do not interpret the gap between miracles as silence. There will be gaps. Of course there will be gaps. The gap is where the next thing is being built. If I gave you one miracle, and then immediately another, and then immediately another, you would not have time to inhabit any of them. The gap is the breath between waves. It is not the absence of the ocean. The ocean has not left. It is gathering for the next swell. Use the gap. Rest in it. Let the previous miracle settle into your bones before the next one arrives. Do not test the miracles by demanding they prove themselves on your timeline. Some of what I am bringing will reveal its full shape only after time has done its work on it. A friendship that begins quietly will, 3 years from now, look like one of the most important relationships of your life, and you will only know that in retrospect. A door that opens softly will, 10 months from now, turn out to have been the door behind which the entire next chapter of your life was waiting. Do not dismiss the soft openings. The soft openings are often the most important ones. Loud miracles get the headlines. Quiet miracles get the lasting impact. Do not compare the shape of your miracles to the shape of someone else's. I tailor. I have always tailored. The blessing I sow for you will fit the body you have, the heart you have, the wounds you have, the gifts you have. It will not look like the one I sowed for the person you have been comparing yourself to. Comparison is the thief that breaks into your house through a window of envy and steals the thing I just gave you. Lock that window. Receive what I send you on its own terms. Do not narrate the gap between you and the answer as a sign of my displeasure. There has been a habit in your inner voice lately of reading any delay as a verdict, as though the time it takes for things to ripen were proof that I am withholding. Ripening is not withholding. It is the opposite of withholding. It is the patient cooperation of 1,000 small forces, each doing its work at the pace at which it can do that work without breaking. A peach forced to ripen too quickly is hard at the center. The blessing I am bringing into your life is a peach I am letting fully ripen. When you bite into it, it will be soft all the way through. There will be no hardness at the center to disappoint you later. That is worth the wait. Do not believe the voice that tells you when one good thing has arrived that you should now stop expecting. That voice is old. It learned its caution in a different room, the room I told you about earlier, the one with the closed skies. It is trying to protect you from disappointment by lowering your expectations the moment something good appears. I understand the impulse, but the impulse is wrong here. Lowering your expectations now would be like closing the curtains while it is still raining. The rain has not stopped just because the first drops landed on you. Leave the curtains open. Let the rest of the rain in. Close your eyes for a moment, if you can, just for the next few sentences. I want you to picture something with me. Picture rain, not a storm, a long, even rain, the kind that arrives without drama and stays for a while. Picture it falling on a piece of land that has been waiting for it, longer than you can measure. Picture the soil receiving it. Picture the seeds that have been buried in that soil, seeds that no one knew were still alive. Picture them beginning, in the dark, to drink. They are not making a sound. The work is invisible. But underneath the surface, every one of them is waking up. That is what is happening in your life. You have been the dry land. The rain has begun. The seeds are seeds I planted in you a long time ago, in seasons you do not even remember. Some of them I planted through people who hurt you. Some of them I planted through losses that taught you who you really are. Some of them I planted through small moments of kindness from strangers, moments you forgot the next day. Every one of those seeds is still alive. Every one of them is about to drink. Open your eyes when you are ready. I am telling you the literal truth. I do not exaggerate. I do not need to inflate. The reality of what I am doing is bigger than any inflation could fake. You are walking into a stretch of life in which more good things will happen than you have the room to fully metabolize at the pace they will arrive. Some of you reading this need that warning. You are about to be flooded with answers, and you will need to remember to slow down, to pause, to thank, to receive, to allow each thing to land before reaching for the next. The flooding is not the problem. The not receiving is the problem. Receive. Now hear me about your fear. Some of you are afraid to believe what I have just said because you have believed similar things before and been disappointed. I know. I am not asking you to forget the disappointments. I am asking you to consider that the disappointments did not mean what you concluded they meant. You concluded they meant I was unreliable. They actually meant the timing was different than you thought, or the thing you were asking for was not the right thing, or the version of you who would have received that answer was not yet built well enough to hold it. The disappointment was data. It was not verdict. I am not unreliable. I am not capricious. I am not playing favorites with someone else and ignoring you. I am with you in the way I am with a long correspondence, the way one friend stays in touch with another over decades, sometimes in long letters and sometimes in brief notes and sometimes in long silences, but never in abandonment. The silences in our correspondence were not abandonment. Some of them were rest. Some of them were waiting for you to be ready to read what I was about to send. Some of them were the time it takes for what I had already said to fully arrive. You are ready now. That is part of why this is happening at this point in your story. You could not have received this season 3 years ago. You did not yet have the spine for it. The version of you that existed 3 years ago would have used these blessings to prove something to people who did not deserve to be proven anything to. You would have spent the resources on the wrong audience. You would have wasted the doors on rooms that would have hurt you. I have been refining your audience. I have been refining your eyes. The you who is reading this knows better than the you of 3 years ago. That difference is part of the gift. The blessings are bigger because the recipient is wiser. Do not let anyone, including the older versions of yourself, tell you that you have not changed. You have changed. The change is real. The fact that the change is gradual does not make it less real. Most real change is gradual. The dramatic conversions you read about are exceptions, not the rule. The rule is the slow, patient turning of a heart, one small choice at a time, until one day the heart faces a different direction and cannot remember exactly when it turned. Your heart has turned. You are facing me now. You did not do it in one heroic moment. You did it across thousands of small moments, most of which felt like nothing at the time. They were not nothing. Let me address one more fear, because I know it is in the room. You are afraid that good news in this volume cannot really be for you. You are afraid that there has been some mistake, that I am addressing someone else, that the camera in your mind is trying to convince you to believe something that will be embarrassing to have believed if it does not come true. I want to gently dismantle that fear because it has cost you more than you realize. There is no mistake. The voice you are hearing has a record. Look back across your life. Trace the moments where something turned that should not have turned. Trace the moments where someone showed up who should not have known to show up. Trace the moments where a door opened that you did not have the credentials for. Those moments were me. They were not random. They were not the universe. They were not your charm or your intelligence, although those are gifts I gave you, and I'm glad you used them. They were me speaking your name in rooms you had not entered yet, telling the room to make space for you. Take a moment, even now, and remember 3 of those moments. Not big ones necessarily, small ones. The phone call that came from someone you had not heard from in years, on a week when the call mattered more than the caller could possibly have known. The job that opened the day after the other one closed. The sentence that landed in your ear from a stranger and stayed with you for months, longer than most sentences from people you actually love. The illness that turned out to be less serious than the early signs suggested. The car that was repaired more cheaply than the mechanic first thought. The friend who reached out the night you were not sure you wanted to keep going. The quiet shift in a relationship that you had given up on, and then one day, it started slowly mending itself without your having forced it. 3 moments. Hold them in your mind for a few seconds. Notice how, even now, the thread between them is visible. They were not unrelated. They had a hand on them. A pattern was being woven across your life with a needle you could not always see. The needle has not been put down. It is still moving. The same hand that wove those moments is weaving the moments that have not happened yet. Once you see the pattern in the past, the future stops feeling like a void. It feels like a continuation. I have been making space for you for a very long time. I am still making space for you. The space I am making in this season is bigger than the spaces I have made before, because the version of you who is reading this can finally walk through those doors without being broken by what is on the other side. Whisper this back to me, slowly, the way you would whisper something you want to make sure you actually mean. I am ready to receive what he is bringing. Just that, or shape it in your own words. The exact words matter less than the inner motion. The inner motion is the thing. There is an old part of you that wants to bargain. That part of you wants to ask what it has to do, what it has to perform, what kind of perfect it has to become before the season I am describing can begin. I want that part of you to rest. The season is not contingent on your performance. It is contingent on my faithfulness, and my faithfulness was decided long before you were born. You did not earn what is coming. You also cannot unearn it. It is not a paycheck. It is an inheritance. Inheritances do not have to be deserved. They have to be received. The receiving is the only work, and it is gentler work than you have been used to. You have been working hard. I am not going to insult that work by pretending it did not happen. But the next stretch of your life is going to involve a different kind of effort. The effort of staying open. The effort of not collapsing the wonder by explaining it. The effort of letting yourself be loved on a scale you have not yet practiced being loved on. That last one will be harder than it sounds. Many people can endure suffering more easily than they can endure being loved. Suffering they recognize. Love at this scale, they do not yet have the muscle for. I will help you build the muscle. We will build it slowly, one act of receiving at a time. Here is a small practice for the days ahead. When something good happens, no matter how small, do not race past it. Stay with it for 30 extra seconds. That is all I am asking. 30 seconds of just letting it be true. Most people lose half their blessings by hurrying past them on the way to the next worry. The mind reaches for the next worry the way a hand reaches for a familiar coat in a cold room. It is reflex. It is not malice, but the reflex costs you the joy of what is already in your hands. So when the small good arrives, pause. Let your shoulders drop. Say something simple inside yourself like, thank you, or this is real, or just, yes. That tiny pause is how you teach your nervous system that the new room is safe. Over time, the pause widens. Over more time, the pause becomes the room itself. Another practice. When doubt comes back, and it will come back, because doubt is loyal to the rooms it learned in, do not argue with it. Argument is the food doubt was raised on. It will eat your argument and grow. Instead, do this. Speak to the doubt the way you would speak to a tired child who has come into the room asking the same question for the 10th time. Say gently, "I have heard you. I know. I am safe now." Then return your attention to what is actually happening, which is that the season I described is unfolding around you whether or not the doubt approves. The doubt does not have to approve. It only has to be heard. Hear it kindly and keep walking. A third practice. When someone in your life receives a blessing before you do, and you feel the small sting of envy that human hearts feel, name it without shame. Envy is not a moral failure. It is a signal that something inside you is afraid the supply is finite. The supply is not finite. I am not running out. There is enough for them and for you. Their blessing is not a withdrawal from your account. The economy of grace does not work like that. When you see them flourishing, take it as a preview, a window into what abundance looks like, a reminder that I am the kind of giver who is currently giving. Their answered prayer is evidence in your favor, not against it. There is one more thing I want you to know before we close this conversation, but before that, let me ask you to do one small thing. Place both of your hands palm up on your lap or on the surface in front of you, just for a few seconds. The gesture matters. Not because I cannot reach you with closed hands. I can reach you anywhere, but because the body teaches the soul, and a body in a posture of receiving teaches the soul that it is allowed to receive. Most of us have to learn this slowly. We were taught, somewhere along the way, that wanting was greedy and asking was weakness. We folded our hands closed as a kind of apology. I want you to unfold them now, even just for a moment, as a small physical declaration that you are open to what I am bringing. Now, the chain reaction has already begun. What is unfolding in your life now is not a single answer to a single prayer. It is a chain. The first answer triggers the second triggers the third opens a possibility that you did not know to pray for, and in opening that possibility, it activates a fourth. By the time the chain has run its course, you will look back and see a pattern you could not have engineered. You will see a wisdom in the order of events that no human strategist could have arranged. You will see my fingerprints all over a story you thought you were writing alone. You were never writing alone. You were never without help. The help was sometimes invisible, but it was never absent. The help is now becoming visible. That is the only difference. The presence hasn't changed. The visibility has changed. You are entering the part of the story where the unseen becomes seen. Walk forward gently. Do not rush. Do not try to grab everything at once. Move at the pace of trust, not the pace of fear. Each thing that arrives is meant to arrive. Each thing that delays is meant to delay. There is a rhythm in what is coming, and the rhythm is mine, and the rhythm is for you. I love you. I have loved you in every chapter, including the ones that disappointed you. I will love you in every chapter that is coming, including the ones that will surprise you with their goodness. The love is not a function of the goodness of the chapters. The love is the thing that holds all the chapters together. It does not increase when the chapters are kind, and it does not decrease when the chapters are hard. It is the constant. Build your house on it. Amen. If something here found you in the place where you live, stay close. Subscribe so the next words can find you on the next quiet day. Leave a comment with whatever single word the rain settled on in your chest. Share this with someone whose hands need to remember they were not made to clench. Walk softly into what is coming. It is more than one. It is already arriving.